Number
nine.
Number
Number nine.
Your order's ready. That would be the Weird Al parody of the most unparodiable song ever written.
Yeah. No, give Weird Al a chance. He can make a parody of it.
Which is another Beatles parody that Weird Al does. But we're not here to talk about Weird Al, which I feel like we start every one of these by specifying we're not here to talk about Weird Al.
I feel like so many normal conversations between me and you start with we're not here to talk about Weird Al. Let's get this out of the way right now.
I wasn't paid here to come talk about Weird Al. I do it for free.
I take my fro wig off. Okay.
Would you call what Weird Al has a fro? I guess in the day maybe
mop.
It was.
It's a curly mop.
He's curly top.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly. I don't want to say it, but that's exactly what.
That's exactly what that movie was about. Shirley Temple is curly top is Weird Al. Let's talk about what we are here to talk about. Today's Valentine's Day that this is coming out.
Are you coming out or off?
What better day than Valentine's Day to come out to my wife?
You're never going to believe it. I will take this present, though.
The chocolate stay? Or this is our 9th Meekly Music Box.
Disc 4, side 2?
Yeah, or is it depends how many songs we downloaded from Kazaa that we can fit on there.
How many PCs we've destroyed.
I thought that the perfect Valentine's, just the name alone, the perfect Valentine. Now you've got me saying Valentine.
What did I get you to do? I haven't said that in years. I've been patrolling my mouth.
The very memory of you saying that is now stuck in my head. Valentine's Day. So for the Valentine's Day, we have got a very special band for you. Today we have Fartbarf.
For Valentine's Day, for everybody, we have Fartbarf.
Damn it, Greg, you said it.
I planted the seed back in you.
Before we talk a little bit more about Fartbarf and the proper way to pronounce this holiest of days today, the first song we're going to hear is Simple Planet. So enjoy Simple Planet by Fartbarf. And that was Simple Planet by Fartbarf. There's a few bands we've had who I just love saying their name, and Fartbarf is definitely in the top one, probably.
Yeah, I toss all pronouns away when your band name is Fartbarf. Fartbarf, we're going to go see Fartbarf today, and Fartbarf is pretty good, and one of my favorite bands is Fartbarf. I don't think often, like, I could dance to that. Like, that's not, like, never the first thought to my head, but listening to them, I think, like, I could dance to that. I know exactly what I can do to it.
I didn't even know I could do the calypso. I've told you this before, but when Melissa had never seen Beetlejuice, and we were watching Beetlejuice on a copy from previous. Don't give me that look. Previously hadn't.
What year?
I met her. This is when she was 4.
Okay, tell me everything about this story.
This was a few years ago, but I was like, you got to see Beetlejuice. So I got a copy from the library, and we're watching it. The scene where they're going to start dancing to Shake, 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 Senora. Yeah. It's about to start, and I'm like, this is it. This is the scene. And then the DVD freezes because it's from the library, and then skips to Catherine O'Hara saying, I didn't even know I could do the calypso.
Somebody took the disc and found the precise part of it and scratched it out. They hate. And it's not Catherine O'Hara who says it. I think it's the other lady who says it, but it's fine. And it's also, they don't dance to Shake, 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 Sonora. They dance to Ayo. Not to correct you, not to call you out or dress you down about Beetlejuice, which might be my favorite movie.
If you've never seen the copy from the library, they actually dance to Shake, 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 Senora.
That's probably why it was scratched. Tim Burton checked it out. We looked on the record.
This was the Burton cut. Release the Burton cut. But anyway, we're here to talk about Fartbarf. So,
we can't talk about Harry Belafonte. Legally, we can't talk about him, but we can talk about Fartbarf, and we will.
But yeah, the song is I really like that song.
Yeah.
And here's where I first heard about Fartbarf, because we had gone to see the Sloppy Boys, and it was at this place in Long Beach, and we wanted to look up reviews of the place afterwards. And this one review, this lady's like, I went to see Fartbarf, and Fartbarf, Fartbarf, and she kept like saying Fartbarf, and we were like, what is Fartbarf, and why is she saying this so casually? And then we brought it up to my sister, and she's like, oh yeah, I like Fartbarf. So then
she was not talking about the band though.
No, she had no idea. So then we had to look into Fartbarf, and I knew that they were the band for us.
If you don't, I'd never thought of Googling them and see what they look like until I was talking to Daniel just before the recording. So you could do that, and then you'll
understand a little more of why they're so perfect.
And trust me when I say put Fartbarf band just to make the search a little, just to make sure it's aimed in a direction.
Well, here's another story I just told you, that I was talking to someone else about Fartbarf, and then he went home and said, Alexa, play Fartbarf, and it just started playing fart sound effects. So make sure you put in Fartbarf's band music. Their sound and their look is kind of like anti-Daft Punk in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd appreciate that comparison or not, but I think they would actually. But because of the masks that they wear and the music that they make and the way they make the music, which we're going to get into, it's like the complete, it's like a fever dream memory of what Daft Punk is.
Right.
Which I'm going to say in every way, I enjoy a lot more. Again, this is more musicians that we're featuring, more bands that are wearing masks.
Yeah,
masks,
we seem to have a thing. Yeah.
We do. We like the Batman villains of bands. But I'm also starting to see that like most musicians are just sort of characters. Like bands are sort of like...
Wait, are you saying that Bruce Springsteen is playing a character of a working man, but he's actually like a millionaire? Is that what you're saying?
First of all, he went to Harvard Westlake. We all know this. It's like the Beatles were, this like four poor kids who dressed really nice, and the Rolling Stones were 4 rich kids who dressed really poor.
Right.
It's bands. Can you believe it?
Musicians, they're just like us.
Fartbarf, they're just like us. Let's talk a little bit about them.
Who, Fartbarf?
Fartbarf.
Thank you.
We got to say it at least 40 more times. Fartbarf is a live electronic trio known as Fartbarf who use no computers. This is what's so interesting about them.
Is it all synth?
I mean, synthesizer is not really a computer.
I wouldn't think of it as a computer if you told me, but now that I said it out loud, I'm like, oh crap, does that count as a computer?
Now I'm wondering also, like,
call
is
Fartbarf.
Synthesizer? Alexa, call Fartbarf, and it's just more fart sound effects. Their sound is mainly comprised of heavily overdriven Moog synthesizers, M-O-O-G. I guess this is probably, I'm guessing, like early sort of synthesizers before it was like, not like what I have at home where I can press a button and it'll play A Whole New World from Aladdin. Like it'll make noises that I guess are electronically made, but it's not a computer. The band is made up of Josh, who does vocals and synth, Dan, who who does synth, and Brian, who does drums. And I was talking to Josh, and on the email, it was Josh of Fartbarf. Their story of the band: we started the band in 2008 almost as a response to what was happening currently within electronic music around us and the world. It was all shifting to a very boring state at live shows. All of us basically came from punk and metal backgrounds where energy was the key ingredient to the success of a live show. It wasn't so much about musical perfection live as much as it was the raw energy and passion for the songs being played, which is, from what I understand, or from what I've asked Alexa about punk, is what punk's all about.
Alexa played me the Chipmunks punk album, and I think I get it now. I hated going to the shows. I can't remember what band it was at the Troubadour, but I remember walking in and there was just like a MacBook on stage with somebody and thinking like, oh, this is dumb. This is...
They're going to call that out specifically in like 2 sentences. But yes, I completely agree. They say we absolutely despised and opposed the wave of laptop DJs. I guess it was 1 sentence, while we're popping up everywhere around us. Dubstep was taking over by storm. It was all just so lame to us. Keep that for your bedroom. Anyone can hit play on their Spotify playlist and clap their hands in the air, turn an EQ knob, etc. No need to pay to go see some dude do that, where the only thing that makes it close to entertaining as a member of the crowd would be to consume massive amounts of drugs.
I mean, I hadn't made the comparison until you said it, but like, yeah, they have like, I think I said this about another band on the Music Box, but they have like a screamers element where it's like a lot of synthesizers, but it's just driven into like that punk art, high art element. Yeah. It's dirty and cool. Makes me want to smoke a cigarette next to a calculator.
Dirty and cool, just like I say all of my shirts are. Yeah, I like that it's a group insisting, because they get into this more of insisting on making music the hard way. In 2022, when it's literally like, I could be Daft Punk. You don't know. Like you like
I knew that you're Banksy, but are you also Daft Punk? Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that on the podcast, that you're both.
I was also the unknown comedian, but we'll cut this all out.
I'm also Max Headroom. Oh, now you just got me confessing to everything I've done.
I'm also Guy Fawkes. I blew up the British Parliament once.
Spring Heel Jack was me. Jack the Ripper was me.
Pleased to meet you. I hope you've guessed my name. It's Daniel. I got all the information. Like, he answered all my questions, and then I had to go back and ask about the masks, because that's exactly what you need to look up, is to see what they're wearing on stage. It's like Neanderthal upsetting masks. Just look it up.
When I did the search for them, first it came up blurry, and I just saw a blur of the faces. I'm like, oh, they all look the same. How cool. And then like it focused. I'm like, oh God,
these are some handsome dudes.
Wrong. You got to go to the hospital.
Rendering. Oh dear. So I asked about the masks. He says it was mainly to cause confusion and to add anonymity. 3 identical triplet Neanderthals in spacesuits playing electronic instruments and drums was a concept we came up with to immediately bridge the idea of the past meeting the future.
Son of Devo. Go ahead.
Well, he says, Greg, you keep... did you read my notes? I put them in a safe every month so that you won't look at them. He says, I personally grew up with my 2 favorite bands being Devo and Mr. Bungle. Who's Mr. Bungle?
Mr. Bungle. I know a couple songs from Mr. Bungle. I couldn't define it off the top of my head, but I'm familiar with the name.
Alexa, play Mr. Bungle.
Cut Greg off and play Mr. Bungle.
Both toyed heavily with theatrics, concepts, and confusion, which I'm finding more and more. I love theatrical bands.
You do.
Like,
you really do.
I love artists that become bands, and I love over-the-top theatrical bands. They kind of forced you to think and question what it was you were looking at and listening to. We really wanted to make things difficult for ourselves and to force a lot of heavy restrictions to create our sound, only using analog synths and a vintage vocoder to Alexa, look up a vocoder. To process our vocals was to do that, to make it hard for them, which I also am into that, making things harder for myself than it usually is, than it should be.
It's called punishment. I forgot what the word is in Catholicism, where you walk with rocks in your shoes and you whip yourself.
Well, have I showed you the thing I wrap around my thigh? Whenever I don't think about Jesus, I tighten it. Another reason we were very anti-computer software, which I'm also behind them 100% on that, as all of our computer issues every single month will attest to. When you have all of the options in the world to work with, it's hard to make anything decent from that, which I also agree with. You just sit there in your chair overloaded with plugins and software, etc. The masks were basically an extension of that. Let's make this real difficult to do live is what they...
I love that punishment element, whether that's something that people pick up from or not, like the idea of like, let's make this as hard and as confusing as possible feels like authentic. When punk first started, it was not easy for anybody. There's a patch of people in punk who prefer lo-fi bad recordings of songs than to like high quality in studio stuff.
You can enjoy both also. I love both sounds.
Okay, well, there's something wrong with you. Go ahead.
Oh, Alexa, what's wrong with me? They make it so hard for themselves to the point that they say that it's basically at the point where we can barely see what we're even doing on stage. It adds a level of complexity for us that changes at every single show. Communication on stage is hard. Everything is more difficult with a mask on. Early on, the masks were the easiest solution to get our point across. Still unsure if we regret that concept decision now with it being more than a decade later, which again, another band of like, let's start this as a joke and we just can't stop doing this joke.
Now you're at the Hollywood Bowl and you can't take the masks off. And you have to be very careful if you step forward.
I know, there's like glue and sweat in your eyes.
I tripped John Williams, oh no.
I stabbed him with his own baton. So in terms of how LA has been a part of their music, they say Los Angeles for sure helped fuel our passion to create highly energetic live music, all on synthesizers that were at more times than most unpredictable.
No.
We saw something missing here. We saw the live aspect of music dying faster day by day, so we chose our old analog synths that needed TLC, that's Tender Love and Care, Greg.
Oh, I thought that was
the band.
Okay.
Or the old cable channel. That needed TLC everywhere we went. They require an insane amount of maintenance, tuners on stage, etc. One club may have AC on, the next is humid. All of this comes into play when turning on an analog synth. So what you have is a borderline train wreck at any given moment. Couple that with obstructing our vision with latex masks and trying our hardest to tame our instruments as the songs go on, at the very least, is fun to watch. Even though visually we're borderline completely overwhelming, lots to take in the first time you see or hear us. It's not for everyone, but we really lucked out finding our niche and our fans really helped.
Your sister really helped, yeah.
Yeah, the sister, I'm talking personally now.
Personally about my sister.
Their fans really helped fuel them to go on and do this. But I love the idea of just like a band breaking down through every single set because like their instruments might not work if it's too hot in the room. I love the craftsmanship and the improvising that comes along with that.
Yeah, that's like the folk tales of like the early days of the Ramones is like they would literally fight on stage and they would start playing all different songs at the same time. They're like, we had a discussion before.
And they weren't even wearing masks.
But the unpredictability is so much fun, especially with like, I mean, I haven't been to a music concert in quite some time. Like going to one and the feeling of chaos, what might be chaos coming up is pretty exciting.
But even aside from all of the technical aspect of this, they make very good music, as you've already heard, and you're going to hear again. I swear to God, you're going to hear it again. Dan and I started the band, which I thought he was talking about me, but I guess not. Dan and I started the band for fun as an outlet after work. We met Brian from mutual friends at the time, and the rest is kind of history. We knew we needed live drums to bring energy to the stage. Drum machines wouldn't cut it, so we all basically started playing shows together for the first time in late 2008, early 2009. Haven't stopped. COVID really took its toll on us. It's been difficult to stay creatively motivated. Boy, do we know that. Even though now we have all the time in the world, boy, do we know that. It's been rough.
Somehow made it harder.
I know. It's been rough. That being said, we do have a new album in the works for real this time. The songs are there, and it's our mission to get this thing out this year sometime. So you can find their stuff on YouTube or fartbarf.com or Instagram fartbarf, or ask your Alexa to play Fartbarf and you'll hear some funny sound effects.
Ask your sister. Maybe she randomly knows Fartbarf.
Everybody's sister knows Fartbarf. That's just a fact.
That's a sign of a sister. Yeah, that's a true sister. If she's not, then she's a changeling. Get rid of her.
A changeling starring
George C. Scott.
Jolie or George C. Scott. Okay. I really like them. I like a good electronica sort of thing, and knowing the context of the band makes it so much better. It's almost like how modern art, like we've talked about contemporary art, where like you'll look at something and be like, oh, that's pretty cool, and then there's like, this is actually a commentary on 4 different things at once, and you're like, wow, this is the greatest giant chair that I've ever seen in my life.
Let me write a check for whoever Rothko is. I'll buy it. I gotta have one.
I'm glad to have Fartbarf as part of the LA Meekly family.
They fit in perfectly.
Only they know how to use the stuff that they record on. So if you want to listen to our regular show, we have a monthly podcast on LA history where we don't normally talk about music unless we talk about music, which the next one I will be talking about music. And you can follow us on Instagram, LA_Meekly, Twitter, LA Meekly, our YouTube channel, and our website, LAMeeklyPodcast.com, where you can listen to all of these other music episodes we've done.
Single thing we've ever done is
Everything
on that website.
we've ever done.
The first time we ever met,
It's documented
on that website. Our Stop on Joe Rogan's podcast is on there.
Yeah.
He got us to say some words. We're like, oh, that's a big one.
Us shaking hands with whoever that guy that had the island. All those pictures are there.
Fantasy Island is Ricardo Montalban was what first came to mind, and then
that's what I'm talking about.
Went away.
No, that's what I'm talking about, Greg. We don't talk about that other island. We only went to Fantasy Island. So you can also support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. We'll send you a handwritten postcard from around LA every single month, and for less, you'll just be supporting us, and we still like that.
I like it even more because you give me money and I don't have to do anything.
How about like $4.99 you can donate, and we don't have to get carpal tunnel writing another postcard. We'll see you for our regular episode March 1st. We got one more song from Fartbarf. Enjoy your Valentine's Day, Fartbarf fanatics out there.
You big fart barfers? Is that what the fans are called?
Enjoy this, you bunch of barfers. So now for their second song, we've got Master of the 5 Count by Fartbarf. So enjoy Fartbarf and a merry Fartbarf to us all. So enjoy Master of the 5 Count by Fartbarf.